Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mental Works Conversation Series. I'm Bobby Marlab, together with Adina Jacobs, are the co-founders of Mental Walks, and we are delighted to bring you this fantastic session with Julie Trell today that I think will delight you. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge that I'm on the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation and to pay my deepest respects for their elders past, present and emerging, and the same respect to wherever you are on Indigenous lands all over Australia and the lands of the First Nations people. So Mental Walks is here to make mentoring accessible to women everywhere, to help you get clarity at those times when you have the questions that you need to answer, or even when you just want to meet other great women. We're about helping you create your networks, because we all know that it's from networks and from showing up that magic happens in our lives. The conversation series started in mid-2020 when COVID was biting at our heels ferociously, and we knew there were some core issues that all of us were facing, and our mentors were in the position as wise women from lived experience to help you deal with those issues. The conversation series has been so successful that we've been delighted to welcome The Iconic as our partners for the conversation series, and also that it continues every month. And please know that if you enjoy your experience here, you're welcome to attend a mental walk, either in person or virtual, that are happening all over Australia. You can just go to our website and find out the dates, and I'll remind everyone of that at the end. So without further ado, it is my great pleasure to introduce Julie Trell, who has one of the best senses of karma about her that of most people that I've ever met. You just need to look at her LinkedIn profile to read that she starts with that she opens doors wider for underestimated leaders. And I think that that sense of abundance and generosity and playfulness, which she calls herself the Chief Play Officer, you'll see tonight. She is the founder and Chief Play Officer for Playful Purpose, and it's that work that we're going to experience tonight. But her experience is way beyond that. She's working with an amazing business called In Digital Edutech that is bringing, closing the gap and the digital divide between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people using tech in educational formats. It is a really remarkable, astounding organisation if you don't already know about it. She's been involved with Airtree and now coaches women fellows in the Start Make program. She is the country lead for SheEO, which is helping female entrepreneurs who are working on the world's to-do list. It's again an extraordinary program. If you don't know about it, I really encourage you to find out more. I first met her when she was the global head of Mural D, which is Telstra's startup accelerator. And before then, she's been executive directors and vice presidents of the Workday Foundation, Salesforce.org. But the thing I found most interesting about her CV is that she actually started as a primary school teacher. And it just shows that none of us ever know where our careers will go. And she's a great example of someone who has, I think, followed her heart and her interest and her passions. And what a great way to be that is. So without further ado, it is my enormous pleasure to hand us over to Julie Trell.
So, Bobby, thank you so much. That was probably one of the best introductions that I've gotten. You've done your homework and you've read, so thank you. I'm keen to connect with anyone on this call or who's listening that you've seen me here. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. So that's how my LinkedIn will share with you what I've done, but I'm going to share with you who I am. And this is a protocol that I've learned through SheEO on how to introduce myself. So I am a white, middle-aged, straight, cisgendered American woman who recognizes my privilege and learning to decolonize my thinking. I am happily single. I have a chocolate party spoodle named Hershey, which is also her pronouns, and hopefully she might even make an appearance today. I find energy and joy in playing, being curious and creative, and my purpose is to open doors for untapped talent or the underestimated. I have an imposter voice, and her name is Beatrice, and I'll get to share how I play with her shortly and how often she gets me very stuck. But through play, I can wiggle around and get less stuck and manage her better. So I tell stories or make them up and use them to explain who I am and how I got here. For example, when people ask me what brought me to Australia, I say serendipity, flip-flops, and a love letter to Mary Poppins. Now let me unpack that. I was on Facebook. A friend of mine in London had posted that her friend in Sydney was looking for someone to fill her flip-flops. This person wore flip-flops everywhere. She was English. If she was putting a posting that says looking for someone to fill my thongs, it would have been very different for me. So she wrote this beautiful, someone said to write the job description, a love letter for the person you want to replace you. And it was this beautiful job description that said, you know, someone that has the gravitas for talking with corporates, someone that understands, loves, has passion for the startup ecosystem, someone that's more concerned about the success of others than their own personal gain. It was cool. It resonated with me. And so I said, yes, I'll have this conversation. Fast forward to moving down here. And then I read the Telstra job description. So as Bobby explained, it was the Muridi accelerator for Telstra. Now Telstra's job description was very different than what Annie had written. So the serendipity of finding her on Facebook, wearing the flip-flops, the job description that she wrote was like what the kids wrote to Mary Poppins versus what Telstra, AKA Mr. Banks, wrote for the nanny that he wanted to show up. So that's how I got down here. I also want to thank everyone here because I need this talk, maybe more than some of you, because I have been very stuck. So thank you for making me put this together for you, Bobby and Adina. Thank you for inviting me, because I need to take my own medicine with a spoonful of sugar. That being said, I want to let everyone know that this is a safe space to play, be curious, and connect. It will be interactive. And while I know sometimes I don't want to chat with others, it's late, it's been raining, when I do push myself to have that conversation, magic happens. So I want to plant that seed and invite you. If you're not feeling it, the interactivity will only be 5 minutes at max. I watched Karina's talk from last month at Your Imposter Voice. And what we'll be doing here is hopefully using some of her suggestions to manage our imposter syndromes by adding play and curiosity to that voice for even more fun. So now let's go into, I want to figure out how stuck people are feeling here. So we have a poll, and on a scale of 1 to 6, 1 feeling 100% free flowing and always smiling. I think flow is the opposite of stuck in my head. To number 6, fully baked in the block of a cement at the bottom of the ocean. So what number are you at right now? 1 to 6. So 1 is free flowing, 2 is mostly flowing, 3 just head above water, breathing in some pockets of air, head just above water. We got 7 here. So we have 2 of the same here. Stuck in thick, wet mud, but you can move up to your waist, but you are fully baked in a brick of cement. So it looks like we have a couple people fill this out. So the 4th one should be swimming underwater and holding my breath. It looks like they came out the same. That's okay. Ta-da, little mistake, little error. It's all good. Ta-da, thanks, Sybil. Okay, so we only have 2%. 1 person is feeling free flow, and that's awesome. Thank you for showing up. We have, it looks like the majority are kind of head just above water, able to breathe in some pockets of air. All right, so I'm going to. Now we're going to do something. So now that we have the numbers, I want to now know what it is that's making you feel stuck. So if you have your phone or the link in with the link in the chat to go to this website and put in the phrase or the words, what is making you feel stuck? And I will stop sharing. So Sophie, do you want to share that page or do you want me to share it? Is it working? I hope it's showing up. We didn't test it. Wow. All right, so fun little tool. to see can you share this link? So this link. Where's Sophie? Here. So what I'm seeing is, you can't see what, it's a great little thing. We have cannot progress in career, overwhelm, deadlines, family versus work, indecision, doubt, family commitments, lack of purpose. So if you keep filling that out, you can see in that link, it'll show you some of these words that are showing up. And I bet you everyone can relate to these things. All right. So hopefully these are great. We can share these later. Should we share the results? Sophie, what did you want to do with the results? Should we share them?
I just had them up.
Okay. Okay. Great.
Awesome. Back up. I'll put them back up.
So it sounds like a lot of work, play, weather, family, indecision. I'm big on indecision. That's a big one. Okay. So if you want to stop sharing, I'll go back to, thank you. All right. So what I want people to put in the chat, but we'll chat here. Yeah. What is improv? When you hear the word improv, what do you think of? Acting, making things up on the spot, exactly, spontaneity. Oh, who just put Josh Lawson? Oh, civil. Thank you. That's a whole other talk. So improv is certainly fun, energizing. Oh, someone wrote lifting. That's great. It's an art form, but it also has the potential to be deeply transformative. At its basic level, applied improv, what I like to call the other AI, is simply taking concepts, ideas, and techniques from the world of improvisation and applying them to business relationships in life. Yes, thinking on your feet, making do with what you have, being prepared for the unexpected. We all improvise every single day, unless you're one of the lucky folk that wakes up when the script is handed to you and you have a script for your day. So improv, it's not just joke telling or silly activities or the theater equivalent of whose line is it anyway. It's effective experiential learning that inspires, educates, and entertains. So with this in mind, it's important to understand that applied improv and improv is not what, but a how. And it's how we're incredibly valuable business skills such as communication, collaboration, innovation, problem solving, and leadership. It's how we instill a culture of growth mindset, build psychological safety, and embrace authentic leadership. It's how we learn to be more effective at what we do. So applied improv gives participants an opportunity to practice new skills so they can be more effective immediately. A trainer doesn't just talk about the importance of listening to understand. The participants actually have an important opportunity to build on their skills in doing so. So we are going to do this. We're not going to be on stage. Don't worry about that. You might feel like it's not going to be acting. And all of these tools that we're going to share today, are what improvisers use, and everyone kind of knows these principles. So while there's no written rules and a structure, they're unwritten tenets and principles to use and apply when you're improvising, or you can bring these to work. Now, this is my very high-tech, fancy principles of improv that I personally love. I drew this. I had fun one day and I was being creative to play. And I'm going to share these that you can keep in mind today, tonight, next week, at work tomorrow, that might help you get a little less stuck and into flow. So these are in no particular order. Practice spontaneity. So we want to surprise ourselves, surprise others, break the patterns. If we keep going and doing the same things, we want to break the pattern so you'll get unstuck when you're spontaneous. Okay. Number 2 is actually my favorite one, is making others look and feeling good. So everyone you're interacting with is, if we are on a stage, is like your scene partner, and you want to make them look good. Or in a boardroom or in a meeting, you're not trying to show off yourself, but showing others off. Now, if you're making others look and feel good, you are going to look and feel good. Now, this is a pandemic that I would love to start. I want to start this one because there's no required vaccine. You can do this. It doesn't cost anything. Follow the joy. So strengthening the synapses that bring you joy and continue to do so. So it will rewire your brain. The neurons that fire together wire together. If we want to get geeky, Hebb's law, Hebb's rule describes how when a cell persistently activates another nearby cell, the connection of the two cells will become stronger. Your synapses are getting stronger and getting made when you're following that joy. So you continue to do that. You know what joy feels like, and you continue to do that. Number 4, listen with curiosity. We often try to look to understand and be right about the next thing you're going to say. How many times have you been in a conversation where you're half listening to the person, but you want to say the next brilliant thing? Or you're speaking and you know that person that is supposedly listening to you wants to say the next thing, but they're not really listening to you. But in improv, what happens is you have to listen to your stage partner on stage because you don't know what they're going to say, and you have to bring in the gift or whatever they're going to say on stage. So we're going to listen with curiosity and pause, and we're going to do a little meditation, if you will, about to listen and to notice. This is another word. And then finally, always important, take care of yourself. If you're okay, you'll be giving from a place of wealth. That whole oxygen mask, put yours on first. You'll be giving more to the person you're trying to make look great. So why is the other AI useful? Collaboration, communication, creativity. So when you collaborate and deeply listen, then others will step in and want to be heard and want to share. Communication, how we make sure we're truly listening to each other and building on one another and what already came before instead of just trying to be right. I know this happens in mentor walks with your mentor, with the other mentee, so it's already happening and we can practice and amplify this more. And creativity, when you say yes to ideas, people are willing to take more risks, things outside normal routines and patterns. And again, there's actual science behind this. You can see these are the brains of improvisers. This happens to be rappers. You can see where it's lighting up, where when they were told to memorize some phrase or some words or a piece versus when they were told to improvise. So you can see that when they were engaging the useful, they want to engage the medial lateral prefrontal cortex, which is forward to the side. Those orange areas show the state of flow, losing track of time. You know, that's when you're in flow, is losing that track of time. How do we get there? How do we get there to get those orange parts to light up? And it's being playful, setting up games, not being so prescriptive. So when you allow yourself to be spontaneous and be surprised, when you follow the joy, when you make others look and feel good, when you deeply listen with curiosity, when you take care of yourself first in the moment, then you're using some tools to get you unstuck and in flow. Okay. So we're going to do some noticing, right? We're going to do about 3 minutes. I want you to, now this is not a meditation where you need to shut off your brain and focus. This is a meditation or a noticing practice. And I want you to close your eyes and pay attention and notice what's around you. Notice pets. Notice traffic. Maybe smells. The chair you're sitting on. Okay. If you want to pop off mute, or if you want to put in the if you want to put in the chat room, the chat, what did you notice when you were asked to focus your attention? What did you hear? What did you notice? Who wants to share? I heard rain. I heard traffic. I heard my tinnitus, the ringing of my ears. I didn't hear a sense of stillness. I didn't hear my dog. He's quiet right now. Suzanne heard Saffron singing. Now, I did this the other day. I was on a train to somewhere, and I sat and I just started to notice what was on the train and who was on the train. And there was this gentleman with like a Paul Hogan hat on. And then he looked like he had a spear and he had shorts on. And I'm thinking, I just noticed that if I was in New York, that would have been really odd. But here I am in Australia. This is interesting. And then I got out of the train and I noticed people, lots of people walking around and sitting and having conversations in booths on benches outside. And I heard a busker playing an original tune. And then I walked by a shoe repair store and I smelled the leather of a store in the store. So all of these things, I just started noticing and being grounded, and it just relaxed me, got rid of my stress. So here's some other things. We have noise, initially traffic, and I smell the Indian dinner of my husband cooking. Great. Feet were cold. Wonderful. Sounds of the office heating system. You realize okay, so there's noisy things going on when you pay attention. So that's pretty cool. Great. Thank you for indulging in that noticing. Okay. So we're going to do this, our first little game. We're going to do it all together. And I want everyone to put your thumbs up like this together, moving back and forth. Okay. And then I want you to tuck your right thumb into your fist and instead stick your index finger out. Okay. Not a gun, which is both the finger, the thumb and the finger out. So just one finger out, one finger out. And then I want you to switch and switch and switch and switch and switch. Let me see some giggling. Keep doing it. Keep going. I see some smiles. I see some. Okay, great. So how many seconds did it take before you had an opinion or a judgment about what you were doing? I mean, a judgment can be a thought like, oh no, I can't do this. I can never do these things. I'm not coordinated, or this is about multitasking. So I see some nods. How long did that take you? Half a second, few seconds? You already had an opinion before we started. Instantly laughing. Thank you. I've got some laughing here. Right away, 5 seconds. So we're going to judgment postpone. This is called Judgement Postponer. So, oops. It's very common to develop an opinion about new things or people within a few seconds. How quickly that exactly happens is actually partially culturally based. In Europe and North America, it usually takes people between 0 and 7 seconds. In Asia, especially in Japan, people try much longer, sometimes up to 90 seconds. So this is the experience from applied improvisers who did this exercise all over the world. So speedy judgment is sometimes useful in many cases because we have to make decisions quickly. However, when you want to discover and learn new things, it actually helps to postpone your judgment. Judging stops us from discovering and learning. Most of you probably stopped doing the exercise as soon as you had an opinion about what you were doing. To be truly creative and learn, it helps to recognize your judgment like, hey, this is really hard. Or, hey, this game is probably about multitasking and I'm not good at that. And let go of those things like mindfulness or meditation. Treat these things like clouds passing by, noticing them, letting go of them, and then getting an inner calm and peace. I'm sure many of you who have kids have probably seen this with kids. So I like to call improv mindful collaboration, team mindfulness. So we're going to postpone judgment as much as we can for the remaining time we have. The practice of not judging others is just as important, if not more, than judging ourselves. So we're going to demonstrate in this little exercise. We want to be kind to ourselves. Let me stop sharing here. Great. So I do this all the time. Some of you may have ever done a class or workshop with me. I'm gonna go to my view so I can see everyone. Oops. When we make a mistake or we've said something wrong or we think we've done something stupid, what happens to your bodies? What happens to your bodies? We curl up, we get smaller, we make ourselves really tight. We get more stuck. So, right, we hide, we get hot and then cold, great. So what happens now? Let's say that you have got the right answer for something, or you got a promotion, or you got Wordle in just 2 tries. It's a celebration. You get open, you get in flow, you open your body. So we let things flow. So I want to try something. I want to play this game. This little, it's not a game, it's an activity, and practice the failure bow. And if you're someone in a room with someone in the room that's going to think you're crazy, let that judgment go. We're going to raise our hands and we're going to say, I failed. It looks like this. I failed. Okay. I know we could take yourself off mute because it's great to hear this. On the count of 3. I want everyone to say 1, 2, 3. I failed.
I failed.
All right. How did that feel? How did that feel? You put it in the.
It's good.
It feels good. Okay.
Fun.
Feels fun. Great. It's also counterintuitive. It feels great. It's counterintuitive because you're tricking the body into not going like this, but going back. So next time you make a mistake, next time you trip on the street, which I do this often, oh my God, who saw me trip? I pull that Jennifer Lawrence, if you ever remember her, when she tripped up the stairs at the Oscars, she got up and she had composure and she owned that moment. So own those moments. And instead of saying I failed, because that's a big toxic word, well, you can say, ta-da, just like a performer, a circus performer, ta-da. So that's my little gift for you. Now we're going to do a little activity, and you're going to go into using all the things that I talked about, noticing, judging, listening with curiosity. You're going to go into groups of 2 at random, and you'll have 2 minutes to find 3 things in common with the person whose room you're in. Now, I don't want you to go with the obvious. We're both women. We both have brown hair. We both live in Sydney. I want you to really work and really be creative. Like, well, I have 9 uncles, or I've been to Lake Titicaca, or I won the lottery, or some obscure award in 3rd grade, or you were at the park and a dog peed on you. Or so really, really be fun, have fun with this, and stay in the positive space. So things that you like versus that you don't like, hey, we both hate, mold. Hopefully everyone hates mold, but that's good. So if you don't want to play, come back in the room. This is, again, I invite you to have these conversations. There's magic in these conversations. It's only 2 minutes, and you are just going to go find 3 things in common with someone in this room. Okay, the magic of Zoom, Sophie. Okay. Does anyone have some crazy things or want to share 3 things you have in common, crazy or not? Come off mute and share or put in the chat. Hi, Kylie.
I just spoke with Veronica and we both have seen Everest from different base camps, me on the Tibetan side and she on the Nepalese side. So that was kind of cool.
Amazing. So love of dogs, love of cooking. Kylie, did you want to say something?
Yeah, we had spontaneous trips that we like to go away on the weekends.
Great. Karen and I both dye our hair and live in Melbourne, but aren't from Melbourne. Cool. Pauline and I went to an all-girls school, love baking and both overseas, but now live in Australia. Great. So these are some of the acts. You can use these activities with teams that you've been working with forever, or new teams. They're great icebreakers, rather than having to go around the room and everyone share what they've been up to. Anyone else want to share anything? Shweta and I each have a pet. We each speak another language. We love Italian and the beach and yoga and Pilates. Kathy and I would love to go to Japan. Great. This is good stuff. I love seeing some of the I've done this before and people are like, oh my God, you went to high school with my cousin in the middle of America somewhere. You know, the stuff that shows up when you create this opportunity. So great. All right, so back to the crux of improv and play. The crux of improv, saying yes and, also supports the make your partner look and feel good. So yes and is a rule that I like to use in life, in both improv and work. So when we apply the yes and in improv, we simply take the ideas of others, our scene partner, and accept them in their entirety and add to them. For example, here's an example of a scene. I'll play both roles. I'm enjoying this beach view. Yes, and I'm going to put up this hammock to make you more comfortable. Ah, yes, and I'll order some margaritas to make everything even more fun. Wonderful, yes, and I'm going to invite that fun group of women to join us. So that's a flow of a nice conversation. So what works to make that, there is a gift, an offer. It was the hammock. We're on the beach. The offer of a location, an offer of an invitation, and the other person accepted it and built on it. So there was flow. Now, if instead the first person started the scene with, it's cold on this mountain, and the other person says, no, we're not on a mountain, we're on a beach. You know, that's the flow stopped right there. The gift was rejected. The characters are in an uncomfortable position. The audience is probably like, what's going on? How many times has that happened to you in a meeting with conversations, kids? You know, I see some yeses there. So this happens also when we think we're accepting and saying yes and adding but afterwards. The but negates whatever goodness became before that conjugation. So consider the person who says, I like her as a friend, but you know something comes next that's not going to be kind. So how much nicer and hopefully more accurate to say, I like her as a friend and I'm willing to overcome her shortcomings. Or the boss, the manager who says, you did a good job, but you didn't hear that. You know, nothing happens. That you did a good job is lost. You did a good job, but now we have to face another challenge. I mean, the boss just deflated that praise. How much more boosting if the boss would have said, congratulations on a job well done. I'm confident you'll have the same success in upcoming projects. Or in the apologies. I'm sorry you feel that way, but. I'm sorry for what I did, but. I'm sorry my words hurt you, but. You know, it just discounts everything. So let's get rid of but. And I use it. I do this when I'm in writing and taking away, you know, trying to take it away from my language in spoken and in written all the time. It's more difficult than you think, and it will change the way you think. So yes, and in improv, improvisers and people who practice improv truly understand the principle. They show up differently. Yes, and becomes more about their attitude to the performer or your team or your family member or your friend and not what's being said. Improvisers or people that you're working with will treat everyone they perform with or work with as if the idea of the other performer or your teammates, that the idea that they brought to the scene is the most genius things they've ever heard. And they will take up the position they think best complements, making others look and feel good. So if you ever have anxiety of networking or going to events, and I have learned this because it's happened, I pretend or I show up and I believe that everyone in this room or anyone that's going to meet is the most interesting person. And it happens. So yes, and for me, it's about listening and feeling heard in both business and work. It's impossible to accept every idea, but there are ways to practice accepting these offers and gently putting them aside, maybe in a parking lot, with people who have these ideas, because sometimes crazy ideas can turn into something really innovative. If you've ever done brainstorming, spend 5 or 10 minutes just brainstorming, sticky notes everywhere, accepting everything, anding everything, even if it's as crazy as it could be. So you're not allowed to judge, you're not allowed to block, only yes and. So this is an activity that you can do, maybe even with your kids, maybe with your teammates, with your managers. So when I practice yes and, my mindset and well-being improves. I feel more flow and less stuck. Even more fun when I talk with others who understand this role and can play. Here's an example. I mentioned Beatrice earlier, my imposter voice. So I was supposed to be on TV on a show, on an interview, and Beatrice was just barking and in my head, like, who do you think you are? You can't do this. You don't know what you're talking about. So I shared this with a friend of mine who knows about Beatrice because I talk about her often. And this is Annie, my flip-flop wearing predecessor. She says, look, I got Beatrice. We're going to go to the beach. We're going to drink gin. No problem. So she yes-anded me. She played with me. She took that character instead of her saying, no, you'll be fine. You'll be okay. You've done this before. That didn't resonate with me, but having to play that game was really helpful. So we are going to practice some yes and some yes but, and I'm going to demonstrate it for you first with my very trusty bestie friend and the mom of Hershey's best friend, Sybil Williams. We're going to show you what it looks like, what the yes but looks, and you're going to feel it as audience members, and then you're going to get to practice it. So are we both? Let me go back so I can see her big. Great. Hi, Sybil. We are going to, Sybil, let's plan a trip.
Okay.
Let's plan a trip to Kangaroo Island.
That's a great idea. I've heard that the beaches there are fantastic.
We're going to do yes, but first. Sorry.
Oh, yes, but first. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Keep that
Yes,
energy. Keep that amazement. Ta-da.
Ta-da. Okay. Kangaroo Island. No, look, it's winter. I think it would be better to go somewhere warmer.
Yes, but I hear you about the winter, but we really do need to get away.
Look, yes, but who's going to look after the dogs? Like, I think maybe we should just stay home.
Yeah, but the dogs need a break from us as well.
Yeah, but Molly gets really anxious when she's not with me all the time, 100% of the time.
Yeah, but you imagine all the gifts and the dog food you can bring back to her.
Yeah, but Millie was just in the hospital because she had pancreatitis. She's not allowed to eat kind of strange things. She's on a really strict diet.
And scene. Got nowhere. We got absolutely nowhere. So we're going to try that again. And we're going to yes and.
Now I get to yes and.
Now you get to yes and.
Okay.
Hey, Sybil.
Yes.
Let's go on a trip. And I think we should go to Kangaroo Island.
That's amazing. I have heard they have the most incredible gin distillery there.
Yes. And we need to pay back to the economy there after all of the fires.
Oh, absolutely. I've heard there's just so much. All of the nature is regrowing and it's actually really beautiful.
Yes. And I know the dogs can use a time away from us, so they'll have a great time at doggy day camp.
Yeah, and it means we can stay up late. We don't have to get up and feed the dogs in the morning.
Yes, and we can see koalas and kangaroos and wombats.
Yes, and I've heard there's one place where you can actually hold birds of prey. It's incredible.
Yes, and we will have the best emu feathers we can make earrings out of.
Yes, because they've actually got amazing earrings, or they've got all of these amazing artisans. It's not just earrings, it's all sorts of art and jewelry, and it's such a creative place to be.
And we will find the most amazing, brilliant, smart, unattached, kind single men.
Yes, and we'll go on a date, double date with them. They'll be twins, even. Double date to the gin distillery.
Yes, and we will live happily ever after. So a lot of stuff can happen when you do this. I know it might have sounded looked silly, but when you're playing this, when you're actually doing this, you can really understand how it feels. So we're going to go back into breakout rooms again, and you can either plan a trip, a birthday party, a wedding, a surprise party. So whoever has the name earlier in the alphabet, first name earlier in the alphabet, will start. So you're going to gift your partner. And the first time you play, you'll have 2 minutes to play with the yes, but. And then we'll send a note. And then you're going to play yes, and. Okay? So person who has the name earlier in the alphabet will do the first gift. You can either plan a trip, a birthday party, an anniversary trip. Be creative. A lunch, a meal, a trip to the moon, whatever it is. Be creative. yes, but, and then yes, and. Any questions? No questions. All right. I see Evangeline is ready. Get ready there. Sophie, you want to open up the rooms and send them out. You'll have 5 minutes, 2.5 for each game. So, how was that? How did you feel? How'd you feel for the yes, but?
It was draining.
It's draining.
It was a long 2 minutes.
I was throwing a lot of cold water on poor Kathy.
Yeah. What about, have you felt that at work?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And what happens when you're at work, when you feel like you're getting shut down after everything you suggest? What happens?
You lose your voice, I think.
Deflating.
You
lose a voice. You don't want to contribute anymore.
Mm.
You don't want to contribute anymore. Your person, the people in the room are not making you look and feel good. Your mood is so much better when you hear yes and rather than but. Yes, Allison, great. Heavy. Yes, but is so limiting. And we do that all the time. When you're noticing yourself saying it, see what happens when you throw an and in there. When you're writing something, just see what happens. The little micro things that happen. Does anyone want to have any final comments? Because I want to make sure that we are wrapping up. And we have lots more games. I have lots more games. This is just a taster. Hands up if anyone's ever done improv. I know Johanna who's on here. Love to. Thank you. That's her sheet. Improv. Awesome. Improv is a scary word sometimes, but we do it all the time. We make stuff up. We are figuring out things, as we go along throughout the day. Play is the same as curiosity, questioning things. So these are all things that are just reshaping what we're already doing. Adaptability, agile. So do we want to can you put the poll up again, Sophie? Yes. When you I'm going to say this again, when you allow yourself to be spontaneous and be surprised, when you follow the joy, when you make each other look and feel great, when you deeply listen with curiosity, when you take care of yourself first in the moment, then you are using these tools to help you get unstuck and in flow. So I'm looking at the poll right now. I don't know if you can see, if you guys see the poll, but it's where people are feeling more in flow. We have a lot more in flow, less stuck. Nobody's at the bottom of the ocean in cement. This is great. These little micro activities are great. What is multitasking here? Oh, she's all settled in, thank God, right when it's over. Feel much more uplifted. Thank you all. So it's about 62 people, 65% have participated in this poll. And so just remember a few of these things, saying yes and when you want to shut down, be spontaneous with saying yes and what comes out next from that conversation. Did anyone want to share any of the trips or parties or things that you had planned? Did you have any aha moments? Anyone want to say? Yes. Yeah, I mean, there will be a recording shared. So here are the results. So we have majority have gone closer to flow. So that's good. That's great feedback for me as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you've gotten more stuck too, share that with me. I want to hear, I want to know so I can help get you unstuck. If you did go the other way, that's totally fine as well. But I'm glad to see there's more people flowing a little bit more. There's 5 minutes left and I just want to do a quick shout out. A lot of this stuff, a lot of like the introduction that I shared at the beginning, I learned from SheEO protocols, and I want to invite people to attend on Friday. There is a global SheEO call this Friday to join. It's very similar to the Mentor Walks community. So it's an hour on Friday, 9 a.m. AEST. Anyone's welcome. You'll meet wonderful people. It is interactive. And if you are part of a startup that's women-led or you're running a startup, I invite you to consider applying for applications. It's like an application process like no other. I really hope that Mentor Walks applies again. I vote for them every time. The process in and of itself is worth applying for. I mean, they give you a playlist, a Spotify playlist for while you're filling out the application. That's one thing, and all applications get feedback. So I'm going to end it there because I think I need to turn it over to Bobby for a wrap up.
Well, thank you, Julie. I don't know about everyone else, but I had a hoot. It was super good fun. And I think the poll kind of told the story of how much lighter we all felt doing those exercises. I'm about to ban but from my vocabulary. I try and sometimes fall back. So I'm going to reclaim that and keep deleting the word but from my language. Thank you, everyone, for being great sports and participating. I know it's hard to put yourself out there, but Julie, you made it easy for us all to do there. So massive shout out to you, and also to your trusty sidekick, Sybil. Thank you, Sybil, for the role you played. It's very appreciated. I wanted to reinforce that Mentor Walks happens monthly or bi-monthly in most cities around Australia. The next virtual mentoring event takes place on Friday, the 17th of June. You can sign up on our website. And we really appreciate it if you spread the word about what we're doing. We're here to support women, and with the motto, really, that good women help good women. So spread the word, and the more people that we can help through our program, that's what we're here to do. So thank you all very much, and particularly thank you to Julie for ending our day on such a great note. Thank you very much. Go well, everyone. Have great dinners and a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.